The strange one, what's another characteristic? She can do irreparable damage. Irreparable damage. Now, look at the interesting verse right here in verse 25. I've always looked at these verses and I'm like, man, why does it say that? You know, obviously we can't lose our salvation. We understand that. Why does it say this? Look at verse 25. Let not thine heart decline to her ways. Go not astray in her paths. For she hath cast down many wounded. Yea, many strong men have been slain by her. Her house is the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death. And I'm like, man, that sounds bad. What does that mean? Like, you know, I remember reading as a brand new Christian, I'm like, I know you can't lose your salvation, but why does it say that her house is the way to hell? That sounds like really bad. Is this the exception to the rule or something, or what? But this is what this means. And God, this is not the only time that God does something like this, where he uses hell as a metaphor for something else. You see, anybody who dies without Christ, they will go to hell. And guess what? They never come back. Amen. Right? They never come back. Well, any man who commits adultery with another woman or fornicates, they never come back from that. Look what the Bible says in Proverbs chapter 5 in verse number 3. It says, for the lips of a strange woman drop as an honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil, but her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps take hold on hell. Skip down to verse 20. And why wilt thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman, and embrace the bosom of a stranger? For the ways of a man are before the eyes of the Lord, and he pondereth all his goings. His own iniquities shall take the wicked himself, and he shall be holden with the cords of his sins. He shall die without instruction, and in the greatness of his folly he shall go astray. Look at Proverbs chapter 2. So what do we see here just in these verses? Any guy who goes down this path, they never come back from that. Just as someone who is unsaved, who dies without Christ, they go to hell and they never come back. Any guy who commits adultery, any woman who gets involved in adultery, they never come back from that. Look at Proverbs 2 verse 16. To deliver thee from the strange woman, even from the stranger which flattereth with her words, which forsaketh the guide of her youth, and forgetteth the covenant of her God. For her house inclineth unto death, and her paths unto the dead. None that go unto her return again. Neither take they hold of the paths of life. Your life will never be the same if you commit adultery. Look at Proverbs chapter 6. Look at verse 30. It says, men do not despise a thief. And Proverbs 6:30 until 35 just kind of solidifies this entire thing. Okay? Men do not despise a thief if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. But if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold. He shall give all the substance of his house. So what is he saying? If a guy steals, he can restore it, move on with his life. Right? Verse 32, but whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul. A wound and a dishonor shall he get, and his reproach shall not be wiped away. For jealousy is the rage of a man, therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance. He will not regard any ransom, neither will he rest content, though thou givest many gifts. Go to Proverbs 20. So what is it saying? Look, his reproach will not be wiped away. That's why the Bible says that the whorish woman, her house are the steps to hell. Because just as a man dies without Christ, is never coming back, his reproach shall not be wiped away. And look, if you've made a mistake in the past in this area, I'm not referring to you. Who am I talking to? I'm talking to those who have not yet made the mistake. Like when I preach on divorce, I'm not talking to the people who have been divorced. I'm talking to the people who have not gotten a divorce yet. I'm ripping your faces off so you don't do something stupid. Right. And if you've made a mistake in the past, back me up. Right. So that the people who have not made the mistake don't make it. Amen. Look at verse 16. It says, take his garment that is surety for a stranger, and take a pledge of him for a strange woman. Bread of deceit is sweet to a man, but afterwards his mouth shall be filled with gravel. So young men, young ladies, listen up. You get involved in adultery, you get involved in some wicked relationship, you may never come back from that. You will destroy, if you want to be a pastor, you will destroy your life. You will never pastor. Right. Your reproach shall never be wiped away. Let that scare the fire out of you. That God would allow you to destroy your life, your dreams, your aspirations for God will go down the toilet if you decide to do something stupid. And those who are married, don't ever do it. Because you won't come back from that. You'll destroy your life. So the next time you're tempted, something's happening, where you're tempted to do that, just remember, you're going to hell. It's like the person who's going to hell. It's never coming back. You're never coming back from that reproach. It shall never be wiped away. Let that scare. Don't think you're the exception to the rule. Amen. Oh yeah, others but me. No, you could be the one who you'll be the next byword in Proverbs.